Well, Corelli, we have made it at long last. FaZe versus G2, another classic in the North American ecosystem, I suppose is the word I want. This one shapes up to be a good one every time.
All things come back to even here. FaZe sitting in a top 4 situation. I said yesterday that's kind of their ceiling and their floor. We'll see if they can break into a grand final today. Remember the stakes here. G2 beating FaZe would clinch the major for both G2 and Complexity.
So a lot to consider here. Obviously, Mist has been playing well defensively all weekend long. Caused a lot of fits for a few teams on Friday, and of course yesterday. And of course G2, we already know that offense, once it gets going, it can be pretty tough to stop. So a lot of good questions about what we're going to get today and who's going to step up. Move on into the grand finals as Pumped over Mist's shoulder, and he will control this one on the backboard and take that G2 opportunity away. But it's a hard press here. And Chicago Atomic and JNabs trying to capitalize off that demo. Unfortunately, no gaps anywhere.
And I think it's a fair question to pose as Atomic does not make the save off his goal line. Missed. Will strike first for FaZe.
Not for sure Atomic was going to get a handle on this one. He came back, had 100 boost, started heading up the wall, and that's actually why. I mean, it's not a bad move to go up the wall there. It's just exactly where that ball was placed. He already had an angle set, didn't have the time, was going too fast to adjust. And so G2 concede the first one.
What I was going to say was it's a fair question to pose about G2 because I don't know if they were all that convincing on the back half of that Space Station series. It was smooth sailing, or at least what it felt like. And then G2, I think, really started to lose a lot of their control against Space Station. What a pass from Atomic, and the shot from Chicago's perfect top shelf.
Really puts him in the blender as well. I mean, Atomic, that's a great dish, and Chicago, way to let it roll. You know you've got the time. Mist is an excellent defender, but one-on-one, uncontested shot, having to defend the whole net, take your best guess and hope Chicago delivers big time, gets them back even. But you're not wrong, Corelli. Yesterday against Space Station, G2 started to falter a little bit. Does not seem to be the case, at least at the start here against FaZe. Definitely no trouble getting the offense moving.
And, you know, when I say that, some people might look at the scoreline and say, well, they traded blows back and forth, but it was really the context of that game. G2's game plan, I think, really started to deteriorate against Space Station. That's credit to Space Station. I think they did a great job of adapting in that series. FaZe certainly have been pretty one-dimensional with their attack, and it always works because of this guy right here, Firstkiller, sniping the top right corner.
Sacrifices his body for it, says, I need to beat the defense, and how about putting a dime in the top right corner right before.
A huge
shot.
Good luck, defense. Have fun with that one. There's just no way you're getting up for that one in time.
Absolute juice from Firstkiller, and a lot of back and forth early on. It's not like it's really extended stays. It's kind of just a chuck it into the middle and see if you're fast enough to get there. The only goal for G2 coming off a strong transition play where they just won a big challenge. So I guess in that sense, FaZe, the ones moving the ball a little bit better early. They do catch G2 leaning left side, but the pass a little too far over Firstkiller's head. They get a couple of good boost deals, though. Should hamper G2's transition here a little bit.
Good physical play on Firstkiller to prevent the touch. Now he's coming up big defensively twice now. 2 saves from Firstkiller back-to-back. Turns away G2. Atomic, he's got no boost here. Looking for someone to bite. JNab free jump. And the defense does well to read it. But a lot of space. You can see how much time G2 had on the ball there with no boost. Atomic was just sitting there waiting for a FaZe defender to go for him. And that's what allowed them to set up the pass.
Take a little page out of that Gen G book. You get that ball on the nose or on an air dribble, and the defense generally just locks up because they got to respect the hard shot to the net with a flick or something. And JNab's trying to get up there early, pre-jump, try and beat the defense. Now, that's a great play. I like that idea a lot. Jump to Firstkiller, trying to stretch, and he will convert the transition 3-1 FaZe.
Yeah, made it look pretty there. And G2, that was a big dive from Atomic, and he was nowhere close to getting the challenge. Leaves Chicago in a tough position against Firstkiller 1v1 with a setup touch where exactly he wants to put it, and a double tap to put it home. Firstkiller leading the charge here for FaZe Clan early.
Totally open in the midfield as well. Missed through one and pinched down across. No one's going to be quite there for FaZe, and we'll have to give a little bit of ground here. Delaying touch from Firstkiller, and G2, they definitely have a lot of time, but you'd like to see him get started a little bit more with the offense. FaZe starting to pull away more and more, at least in the terms of quality opportunities on net. G2 with 7 shots, only 1 on the board, and Only 4 saves required from FaZe, so G2 doing a nice job transitioning, but struggling to set up quality chances.
And you're seeing exactly what you would expect from this series. You're seeing some great offensive plays from FaZe, solo plays from Firstkiller, sniping shots, but you're also seeing a lot of control from G2, passing, looking for options, looking for space, and taking advantage of that space when it's given to them. So you're getting exactly what you want. Here's FaZe. And Mist trying to get a double tap. They're looking to set up their offense. Comes free.
Hello.
Can he put it on target? Atomic can't make the save. And it's 4-1 FaZe clan.
Man, Typical's just in a great spot for this one. He's on that open side of the field, all the way on the bottom, just covering that side, just in case they throw the ball to JNaps, and just sees that pinch challenge go straight across the middle, and he's just in a great spot to go and collect on it. I mean, it's not like that's really just right place, right time, and you put yourself in good position, good things happen.
And unfortunately, a weak challenge from Chicago there. He didn't have boost, so that was the best he could do. And of course, pitching out to the midfield is never what you want, especially with a guy like Typical behind the ball. G2, less than a minute to play. And I really don't think it's been a horrible game from them, but the scoreline would tell you otherwise.
It absolutely looks a lot worse than it's been. It's just been a couple of really nice plays from FaZe to get them through, and can't fault the execution. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap, and that might be what G2 has to do here in game 1. Now, that's just a mistouch from Chicago. Atomic will cover up on the backboard, but if you're G2, you'd like to spend the last 20 seconds or so on offense and say, okay, hang on, we just have to make sure that we can actually win some of these challenges against these guys, and right now, that's just not happening.
And don't get me wrong, there's been mistakes from G2. Poor challenges on that second goal from Atomic, nowhere close to it, left Chicago in a 1v1 against Firstkiller. That's no team in the world wants that. And those type of mistakes have come back to bite G2, but I think you made a great point, Chiefs. FaZe, this is probably one of the better games of execution we've seen from them.
Yeah.
Game 1, in full control for FaZe clan.
Really great showing. Can't really fault hardly anything from it. I mean, the only goal they allow is a quick transition where Mist is in a one-on-one, or essentially was a one-on-two, but if that's the only one you're giving up.